In this town, the law didn't protect the people, it protected the criminals. It looked like any other small American town. Population under 10,000, quiet streets. Friday night football lights glowing under the southern sky, church bells on Sunday mornings. Neighbors who waved when you drove by. On paper, crime was low, officials were respected. The mayor was praised for strong leadership. The police chief promised safety and order. From the outside, it was the American dream. But for years, no one dared to speak about what was really happening, because in this town, something was very wrong, and the people sworn to protect the community were quietly controlling it. So how did an entire town fall under criminal control? At first, the changes were subtle. A driver passing through town received a ticket for going 2 miles over the speed limit. Then another. Fines weren't just expensive, they were crushing. Miss a court date? Your license could be suspended. Couldn't pay, additional penalties. Local business owners began receiving surprise inspections. Some were fined for minor violations, others were shut down temporarily. Strangely, certain businesses were never investigated. Certain families were never questioned. Certain individuals always seemed protected, political. Rivals of the mayor found themselves under scrutiny. One city council member was charged with a violation that was later quietly dropped. Residents began to whisper. But whispers don't travel far in a town where everyone knows everyone. And especially not in a town where the police chief and the mayor were close allies. Then came the money. Town revenue reports began to show something unusual. A massive increase in income, not from tourism, not from new businesses, but from fines, traffic citations, court fees, penalties. Like what investigators later uncovered in Brookside, the town had slowly transformed into a revenue machine. Police officers were allegedly pressured to increase ticket numbers. Drivers passing through became easy targets. Minor infractions became major financial burdens for many residents. It felt less like law enforcement and more like legalized extortion. And yet, it continued. Year after year, the mayor defended it as strict law and order. The police chief claimed crime prevention required firm action, but behind closed doors. Something else was happening. Salaries of top officials began rising. City contracts were awarded. Without proper review, luxury expenditures appeared in budget summaries. It echoed the scandal that once rocked Bell, where city officials secretly paid themselves enormous salaries while residents struggled financially. Power had stopped serving the people. It had started serving itself. Then someone decided to stop being afraid. A local journalist, born and raised in the town, began asking questions. Public records were requested. Budget statements were analyzed. Court data was reviewed. Patterns began to emerge. Over 40% of the town's operating budget was linked to fines and fees. Arrest rates for minor infractions were disproportionately high. And strangely, complaints against officers rarely resulted in discipline. The journalist received anonymous messages: "Be careful, let it go." One night, their car tires were slashed. Another time, an unknown caller warned them to think about their family. Fear was no longer subtle. It was direct, but the investigation didn't stop. Instead, documents were forwarded to federal authorities, and that's when everything changed. When federal investigators from the Federal Bureau of Investigation began reviewing the town's finances. They found irregularities that couldn't be ignored. Internal emails suggested pressure to increase citations. Meeting notes hinted at coordinated efforts between city officials. Budget allocations didn't match public explanations. What started as whispers had turned into evidence, and evidence demands action. Federal agents arrived quietly at first, then came subpoenas, then search warrants, then raids. Residents watched as unmarked vehicles lined the same quiet streets that once symbolized safety. The illusion was cracking publicly. For the first time, the town saw what many had long suspected. This wasn't incompetence. It wasn't isolated misconduct. It was systemic. The people sworn to protect the town were the ones exploiting it. The fallout was swift. The mayor announced a sudden resignation. The police chief was placed on administrative leave. Several officers faced internal investigation. Court proceedings revealed misuse of public funds, abuse of authority. Coordinated efforts to inflate revenue through aggressive enforcement. Residents filled town hall. Meetings with anger. Some demanded arrests. Others simply wanted answers. How long did this go on? Who knew? Why didn't anyone stop it? Trust, once broken, doesn't return easily. Families who had struggled under crushing fines felt betrayed. Business owners who had feared retaliation felt vindicated. But relief was mixed with shame, because this wasn't a distant scandal in a major city. This was. The town, the streets, the leaders. Sentencing hearings followed months later. Some officials received prison time. Others accepted plea deals. Financial restitution was ordered. Policies were reformed. Oversight committees were introduced. But reform can't erase memory, and it can't restore lost years. The bigger question remains uncomfortable. If it happened here, what else could it be happening? Small towns across America often operate with limited oversight, close relationships between. Officials can blur professional boundaries. When accountability is weak, power grows unchecked. And when power grows unchecked, communities suffer. Corruption doesn't always look dramatic at first. It can start with a small fine, a minor abuse of authority, a quiet decision made behind closed doors, and if no one challenges. It grows until the very system designed to protect people begins protecting itself instead. In this town, the law worked for the criminals. The real question is, where else does it still? Silence lingers longer than sirens, and sometimes. The most dangerous corruption isn't the kind you see on the news. It's the kind hiding behind a friendly smile in a town that looks just like yours.